his smarts, his whimsy, his wholesomeness. So it's good to do that. There is no way really to avoid loss. To avoid reckoning with loss. And we don't really need to be afraid of it. It's right to feel it. It's good. It's good to feel it. It's good to be here together. As we're doing all of that here today, it's important to notice that our full community is present. Brown students, of course, but also friends from across campus, across Rice, students from other colleges, alums, faculty, staff. So we can keep each other together, keep each other standing through this moment of difficulty. We can sustain each other enough to face the fact that Soorya isn't with us anymore, not in an everyday way, not taking any more pictures. Even though in the most profound sense, he is with us. He will always be with us. And there's something very sweet and permanent in that kind of knowing. So before we begin, I thought it would be good just to have some sense of who is here. The broad community of people who touched and were touched by Soorya. And as most of you know, Soorya's family is here, which is very, very sweet for us. If I could ask you, his father, Prabhu, his mother Fiji, his sister Veda, and a whole other set of extended family, sisters, and if you all would stand for a moment just so that people can. So we're so pleased that you're here. We welcome you. It's important to us that you're here. They are videotaping the memorial so they can remember it later. Remember us, remember the Soorya that we knew. We are so grateful you made the effort to get here. Mr. Avali and Soorya's sister Veda will offer some reflections of their own in a little bit. I also wanted to recognize that we have 3 sets of masters here. We have Paula and John Hutchinson, Laura and Steve Cox, who are our head steadfast immediate predecessors here at Brown. We have many dedicated associates too, Paul Stevenson, playing piano, Linda Torkson, Keith Cooper, and others who are here. Nancy Henry, our college coordinator, is, I think, the most experienced coordinator on campus, and she does so much for us every day. Most of our college leadership is here. I imagine there are students here from other colleges in leadership roles. President Liebran is here for that family, and we are very grateful. Alums are here who've come from out of town. Our Brown student health advisors are here. Maybe you guys will stand just for a moment. The student health advisors, just in case anybody would like to talk about the event. After the event, I wanted you to know that the HRAs were here. I know I haven't mentioned everyone here, but I have taken time just to mention a few people so that we can take strength and heart from the depth of the leadership pool that we have at our disposal. In a moment, John Hutchinson will begin the sharing of reflections. Before he does, I thought I would just walk through our program with you quickly. You see that we have some initial speakers. Then we have a musical interlude. Then we have an open mic period in which anybody who wishes can offer a tribute. After the open mic, we have another musical interlude before we announce the Soorya Avali Award, dedicate the art wall, and present gifts to the Avali family. One final musical piece is one that we can all sing along to if we like. Once we finish it, we will go outside and surround the fairy fountain. Balloons will be passed out, and of the Avali family and of Soorya's sister, we will release the balloons. A reception is prepared for us, and we will return back in round comments, and we can stick around as long as we like, keep talking, keep feeling, and for sure keep staying connected. So at this point, I thought I would invite Dean Hutchinson to say a few words. Of course, as I said, one of the former masters at Brown, but also our much regarded Dean of Undergraduates.
Actually, there we go. I'd like to begin by thanking Krista and Jose for organizing this event and inviting all of us to gather here together. These moments are extremely difficult, but they are extremely meaningful. And it's very important that you are all here to join us here today, so thank you for bringing us all here together. Even more importantly, let me join Krista in thanking Mr. and Mrs. Avali and all the Soorya's family for coming to join us. I wish I could tell you I don't know how difficult this is, but I do. But it means a great deal to all of us that we have the opportunity to celebrate Soorya's life with you here with us to join in and know. Amongst the greatest gifts that each of us have had the opportunity to receive over the last several years is the gift that you gave us in sending Soorya to us and having him with us here for 4 years. The opportunity for all of us who are gathered here to get to know him, to spend time with him, to enjoy his life and his company and his artistry and his wit has been an incredible blessing to us. And I hope that today you get to have some understanding of just how meaningful it has been to us to have Soorya as part of our lives here at Rice. I wish I could tell you that I have not stood in this place before, but I have, just this year. Just over the course of this year, we have lost a number of students, and in each occasion we come together to commemorate the life and to celebrate the life. And for each of us in each of these occasions, when we so tragically lose one of our company at such a young age and such an incredibly brilliant future lost, we struggle to find meaning. And for many of us, we may try to look and say, what is the purpose of this? Why did this happen? Why did we have to lose Soorya? What would be the reason behind his passing? Surely there's some plan. Surely there's some purpose. I can't tell you that. I cannot tell you that there's a purpose behind this. I can't tell you that there's a meaning to our losing Soorya. But I can tell you that there was meaning to Soorya's life, and that we can all draw strength from the meaning that he brought to us. And so today is a time for us to mourn, of course, but also to celebrate, to think about the ways in which Soorya led a life that is a lesson and is instructive to every one of us here. We'll hear these memorials as the individuals come to speak and talk to us about the ways in which he enriched their lives. But one of the things that touched me the most as I watched the slides go by here, I've been to these services before, unfortunately. What's unusual with the slideshow here is the number of images that we are looking at that do not have Soorya in them. Think about that. That's remarkable. Because what it tells us is actually the depth to which each of us were touched by Soorya in his artistry with his camera and in his humanity in the ways that he dealt with all of us. Actually seeing the images that he took of each of us who are in this room is one of the ways in which we connect back to him and the ways in which he connected to all of us. So what we need to think about is how we might learn those lessons from Soorya. He was one who understood the depth of the joy of life, of the ability to appreciate every moment and to find joy in each moment. I actually don't recall an occasion in which I was in Soorya's company and he was not smiling. I do not recall an occasion in which he encountered another person and did not stop to greet them and to share a moment and a laugh with them. I do not recall an occasion in which I saw Soorya alone. I can only remember the images as they were passing here of Soorya in the company of his friends and his colleagues and his mentors and his family, and enjoying those moments in life. I have to tell you, of course, as we know here today, that sad things happen in life. And as is abundantly clear to all of us from Soorya's passing, that life is fragile. But what that also means is that life is precious, and that we have to enjoy every moment of every day, in the company of others, in the simple pleasures of a conversation with each other, a shared laugh with each other, a shared moment with each other. And so we can all dedicate ourselves to that as building our future as we go forward, to think, what would Soorya do? How would he approach this day? What would he be thinking? And what would I be doing if Soorya were standing next to me right now? One other message that I wanted to leave each of you with. These are times in which we all struggle. These facts of life are difficult to absorb. They are difficult to sustain. And the way that we sustain them and the way that we manage through their lives is with each other, in the company of each other, by helping each other, by supporting each other. And so for each of you, it is crucial. Today is a day, and each day forward, to reach out to each other and ask for help when you need it, and it's to extend that help to others as we go, because we are all affected by our loss of Soorya and by the future that we face ahead, celebrating his memories, but missing him dearly. I wish I could also tell you that I don't have a standard thing that I do on these occasions, but I do, because we do this. So I'd like to close in each of these occasions by sharing with you words that have always brought great meaning to me, if I can find them. From the poet John Donne, who reminds us of our interconnectedness. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if any promontory were, as well as any manner of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sin to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Kristen, Jose, Yuki, for gathering family and friends today to celebrate Soorya. Is that better? Better? Evan, hear me? As master, I was most grateful for Soorya's uncommonly selfless devotion to his peers and its resulting outsized impact on our community. As friend, I was most grateful for our time together on the racquetball court. We played weekly over 2 years. On occasion, his brown twin, Shaurya, would join in for an intense match of cutting. In reflecting on our time together, I've begun to see Soorya's life on the court as perhaps a window onto his larger self. His unblinking attention gave him an excellent read on where he needed to be to meet the ball. Even at 7 a.m., however, he seemed to break loose of gravity's hold, inevitably flying across the court, overstepping his mark, cheerfully rebounding from the wall or the floor, still in time to beat the ball, though from a now unanticipated angle that sparked creative contortions of his strong, thin frame. In brief, he threw his entire self into every return, and no two resulting shots were ever the same. I believe that all here can attest to the fact that he met each of us with wonder and enthusiasm, and returned our attention in creative, original, and deeply personal ways. In my case, he would meet my immature puns and innuendo with an, "Oh, Steve," that told me that although he did not strictly approve, he loved me anyway. God, I miss him.
sit right here because you can see the photographs, which are tremendous. Okay, I think I'll get my feet under me here, guys. So next we get to hear from Soorya's father and his sister. You're going first? Faith has come first. Yeah.
Sister, and you also know him. You know him as the person who he was at Rice, but at home he was pretty much the same person. Like every night, he would always, when I had to go to sleep, he would always be in our frog room playing video games. And then I would just go to him and ask him if he wanted to race to the bed. And somehow he would say that he wouldn't do it today every single time, even though he would actually just trick me. And every time I fell for it. And lots of days when I came home from school, he would just be running down the stairs, ready to tackle me. Then we would both go upstairs, and then if I ever got hurt, he would do the weirdest thing and just go tell my mom and that he did something to me, which was basically telling on himself. And lots of times, like on the cruise, when we went on a cruise, we would just ditch our parents and just go around and explore. And we always had lots and lots of fun. And when we were actually going on the cruise, we went parasailing together. That was one of my best experiences with him. And I think that's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's good to applaud. I bet.
My name is Avali. I am Soorya's dad. I'm going to answer a couple of questions you always had in your mind. What the heck is Soorya? And then, what the heck is Avali? It's a long story. 22 years ago, my wife Viji was pregnant with Soorya. We were traveling on I-45. Myself, Viji, and my nephew, Ashwin. And we were all trying to figure out what would be the right name for the newborn baby, or the baby to be born. So we wanted to pick a name that's indicative of the Indian tradition. We also want to pick a name that would be easier for the Americans to pronounce. So finally, we tossed around so many names, and I think Ashwin, my nephew, he was a junior at high school, and he said, well, if you named him Soorya, nobody could actually make fun of his name. So, and I also liked the name Soorya, and then we pretty much decided to name him Soorya. Soorya means the sun god. So that's the meaning of the name Soorya. And Avali, which is our family last name. The Avali means in Sanskrit, one of the classical Indian languages. Avali means road. So we come from a family of poets, so that way we call ourselves Avali. So that's the significance of the name Soorya Avali. So when we named him, we really did not realize that he is going to have all the qualities of sun. We did not realize that. When you think about sun, what is the first thing that comes to mind? To me, sun is brilliant and bright. So ever since, almost from age 3, and Soorya started reading when he was barely 3. So whenever, at least before he came to Rice, whenever I think of Soorya, the only word that would come to my mind is brilliance. So he was extraordinarily brilliant. So he was a voracious reader, and he took upon any challenges with such great passion and focus and intensity. So, and without a doubt, he is one of the most well-read person I have come across in my life. So, he was always open to any challenges in reading. So, any book I throw at him, he would be like sun. He would consume the book in a matter of seconds, or hours, or minutes, and he would be asking for the next book. So that was the very first thing that always comes to my mind. The next thing is that we don't necessarily think of sun as a competitor. The sun, God, our sun is a competitor because the sun is going to consume anything that even comes close to sun. So Soorya was exactly like that in racquetball court. So people try to destroy the opponent. So he was like sun God, I think, from that perspective. And when you think about sun, you also think about focus because sun has a great ability to focus energy. And that's another remarkable ability that Soorya had. More importantly, the sun is very charismatic. You know why? Because of his gravity, it pulls all the planets around him. So the same way, Soorya was incredibly charismatic when he was at Rice. He was always surrounded by friends. These are all great qualities for anybody to have, being bright, brilliant, leader, focused, and charismatic. All great qualities. But in addition to all of this, sun shows unconditional love. You know why? We don't necessarily think of sun as somebody who can show us unconditional love. We think about sun as a ball of fire, a ball of energy. The sun also shows unconditional love because the sun is always ready to reach you. I mean, every day you wake up in the morning, the sun rises, and it tries to reach you with the beautiful rays of sun. It's really up to us to leave our home and then soak on the great rays. The sun is always ready. The sun doesn't discriminate based upon anything, based upon race, religion, language, or anything. The sun shows unconditional love to everybody. And Soorya was exactly like that. But the most puzzling thing was that when he was staying with us in South Carolina, until 2010, he was mainly known for his brilliance also, although he was also known for leadership. Whenever any one of my friends or his schoolmates think about him, they'll think about brilliance. But Rice changed all of that. That's the key. So when he came to Rice, he had a moment of truth. So he saw a bunch of incredibly brilliant people, some of the best minds in the world, but he also saw them happy. Until that point, it was almost an oxymoron for him. So maybe he thought, how can you be so smart at the same time be happy? Rice changed that. So when he saw all those people here, he realized they are not only smart, but also very happy. So once he saw that, so what is the first thing that we do when we see happy people or a bright sun? We take pictures, right? So anytime you ask somebody to pose for a picture, you don't ask that person to cry. You ask that person to smile. Right? So that, I think, started his interest in photography. It's a bunch of bright people, smart people, happy people. You wanted to take their pictures. So he kept on taking their pictures. That made him happier. It also made the people happy. Then after a point, he realized, is happiness is that something only can rise? No, absolutely not, right? So that kindled the adventurous spirit in him. So he wasn't happy taking pictures of people in Rice. He wanted to explore more. He wanted to travel the world. He traveled in Salvador, Brazil. He probably saw more countries than most people would do in their entire lifetime. So it was a vicious cycle in a very good way Okay, he saw happy people, took more pictures, that made him happier. And then that also made him realize that the most important attribute that we all should have is unconditional love. At the end of the day, nothing else really matters. Soorya left this world on July 28, 2014, exactly at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. The sun set at Dallas exactly at 8:30 p.m. at Dallas. I don't think it's a coincidence. Although Soorya left this world, he is like the sun. The sun never really leaves us. It is the earth that leaves the sun, periodically. So, the same way, Soorya's memories are going to live forever, although he is physically gone from this universe. I'm very sure that his spirit is very much alive somewhere in the universe. So his motto was very simple: live well and love all. Thank you.
At this point, we have our first musical offering. It's by Eric Satie, Gymnapadi, number 1, Sam Tormey, Brown student, class of 15, will perform it on classical guitar. have personal tributes from members of the broader community. I know that many of you have expressed a desire to speak, so I would ask only that you keep it on the briefer side of things, but you know how to open.
Listening to some of the other folks talk, it's amazing the themes that are so common. I wanted to share a few things about Soorya. As an RA, I got to kind of step back and observe him amongst many other students, and sort of try to look at the students a little bit differently in terms of the different experiences they're having, the different things that they're going through. So not necessarily to share with you some individual memories, but rather some qualities that I observed. The first is that he had this ability to really dig in and enjoy the moments. I think this was due to a few different aspects of his personality. One was he had this intense focus. So many of us, when we're here at Rice, got classes to worry about, and projects and activities and sports and all these other things. And I think most of the time we kind of go through and we're sort of doing one thing, but we're really thinking about something else. I don't think that was the case for Soorya. I think he would just dig in and focus on exactly what he was doing at the time. And I think that's one of the things that enabled him to take a step back and say, you know what, next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go play racquetball. And I'm just going to be there playing racquetball. I'm going to leave it all out on the court and have fun. Another thing that I think enabled his ability to enjoy the moment was a lack of fear. He would approach things, and I think one aspect of that was the way that he would learn things. I remember him commenting on learning how to be an excellent photographer, and it's kind of hard to imagine. He said, when I started out, it wasn't all that good. And I can imagine him, taking photos and just taking shot after shot and saying, these may not be all that good, but I'm having fun, I'm enjoying it, and I'm learning. And he would just go along. And the fact that he could concentrate on that and be unafraid of kind of how things would turn out, but just sort of trust that they would get better over time was really remarkable. Another way which he was fearless would be just pick up and let's drive to West Texas so we can get some shots of the stars in the middle of the night. And from traveling there, traveling to Brazil, and other areas, but he just completely unafraid to go out and try these things. And it was remarkable that he could sort of bring them together and then just enjoy the things that he was doing as he was doing. I think closely related to that, there was another quality of him that I really admired, and that was how genuine he was. A lot of us, folks will come to me and say, hey, Joe, how are you doing? I say, oh, I'm good, how are you doing? Sometimes when we say, how are you doing, we actually don't want to know. It's just, we just really want to, let's have a high five and walk away, and everything's going to be okay, But Soorya wasn't like that at all, He would say, hey, Joe, how are you doing? And he would say, hey, how did that meeting go the other day that you were preparing for, you a little bit apprehensive about? How was that dental appointment you had the other morning? I'd sit back, did I go to the dentist? Yeah, I did. How did he remember that? How did he know that? And the not so subtle subtext for him, or context for him was, how are you doing? And by the way, you better give me an honest response, because I really care. And I'm not going to let you go until you actually give it. So it's just amazing how, I think, relatively young, how he could be so genuine in his interactions. It's just absolutely fantastic. And I think, he would bring those qualities, but then sort of spread them out amongst his peers. His classmates in particular. This is the only group that we've seen that they've been able to get together, drive halfway across the country, spend some time, and drive back, and still be speaking to one another at the end of the trip. Just that they could enjoy the time together and just focus and do all that together, I think was really remarkable. And for my part, for Jen's part, we're so happy to have been able to share in that and just draw tremendous joy from
so many memories and emotions right now, so give me this little jump up. But, no amount of time up here with me or anyone speaking this whole memorial could really do Soorya justice, his personality, the way he lived his life. So in the brief time I have, I just have to talk about two of the things that I'm going to remember about him the most and that I'm trying to take away with him going forward. And as mentioned by everyone else here, his intellect, his charisma, his leadership ability. But the two things for me really, the first one was his selfless nature. And I know all of you can attest that anytime any of us ever needed something, some item, a camera lens, or help with something, or help on your homework, Soorya was the first person that would just jump on it. Whatever he was doing, he'd drop in and help you. And one particular story I have to share about this is this past year, getting ready to go home for spring break, and Soorya was kind enough to offer to take me to the airport. And a couple hours before we go to the airport, Soorya knocks on my door, and he kind of limps in, clearly in a lot of pain. And he tells me, I was working out. I'm really sorry I hurt my leg. I'm not sure I can take you to the airport. I was like, no, don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. I'm wondering why did he come all the way back from the wreck, like just walking, limping all the way back to tell me, why don't you just call me or something? That's not a big deal. And I see why. It's because he takes out his wallet, takes out like $80, $100, and just, puts it on my desk, and just starts walking out the room. I'm like, what are you doing? You don't need to do that. And I had a fight with him, literally fight with him tooth and nail to take the money back, because he just didn't understand why that wasn't necessary, why he was doing me a favor. He didn't need to do that. And if that was me in that circumstance, I know I would have, limped back to my room, taken the bus, whatever I needed to do, took 2 aspirin and went to bed for the afternoon. That was, that's how I would handle it. But to Soorya, no amount of money, no amount of pain or personal discomfort, none of that matters in comparison to a promise to a friend. To him, that was the most important thing in his life. Just how other people, being with them, was the most priority of anything. I'll really remember that and try to follow his example. And the second thing was sort of his positive attitude. I know all of you know his optimism, the way he loved life. And living with him senior year, it was honestly contagious how he lived the way he lived and how positive he was. And he was just so supportive about anything. We had lots of interviews and tests and whatever, and he just showed kind of like what Joe was saying about genuineness. It was just genuine encouragement. And when you have someone who just supports you and encourages you and builds you up and motivates you, it's just this incredible feeling. You feel this confidence that you can do anything. There's just another person in there just throwing all their weight and support behind you, and it's just so incredible. And likewise, when something good happened, it's not just that kind of dialogue we have with someone like, oh, that's great, congratulations, you're happy for them. It was genuine happiness. He felt genuine happiness out of the people's success, and that feeling is just absolutely incredible, and really something that really was just unique to him. And I know that Soorya's spirit will be with all of us going forward, offering his silent support and encouragement, building us up, helping us be the best people that we can be going forward, because he'll always be with us, supporting us. And I know that if all of us could sort of take a little bit of what he was to heart and just try to be, I know I'm very pessimistic and cynical about a lot of things, but just try to take a little of this optimism and positive nature, that the world will be a lot brighter place.
I didn't know Soorya as well as a lot of you here did, but I have 2 really fond memories that I'd like to share. And the first was my freshman year. Janet, Trenton, Alex Lamb, and I won the Jackie Schnell Memorial Award, and he had won it the year before. And he came up to us afterwards and said, what are you going to do with your award money? And I was like, I'm going to put it in my savings account or something, I don't really know. What did you do with yours? And he said, oh, I bought my first camera with it. And I think that just really represents Soorya as a whole, just following his passion. And the second memory was I was fortunate enough to be placed in the same group as him during advisor training reflection my sophomore year. One of the questions they asked is, if you could be anything, what would you be? And he said he wanted to be a nature photographer or wildlife photographer. And I didn't know him that well at the time, and I just thought, oh, that's really interesting. And as the year progressed, I really realized he did that. As you can see from the pictures here, he was a nature photographer, and he was a lot of other things too, but I feel really fortunate to have known someone who just really truly followed their passions like that. And I think everyone should remember that Soorya's love and passion lives on in each of his photographs, and it lives on in each of us as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Soorya, for those who don't know me. Like Mike said, there's no amount of words that I can say up here. I could never encompass everything that Soorya was and everything that he did for me. Sitting in that chair right now, I literally just realized I met him right there. First day of Avali. He was my very first friend at Rice and at Brown. I walk out of the master's house after taking a picture, and he was standing right there with the remote and stuck out his hand. He always does. Said, "Hey, I'm Soorya." And since that moment, we were friends all throughout. We were neighbors freshman year, and I can't believe that Soorya, when he came in, I thought he knew how to have so much fun. I was really uptight when I came in. I think more than anybody else. Soorya changed me freshman year as a friend, as a mentor, as somebody that I really just looked up to. Obviously, I would never tell him that. I congratulate him in so many ways. And he really, I think the thing that stuck out to me most, and he never changed this anytime he was at Rice, is that he never took the status quo. He always called me out on anything that I was doing that he didn't think I was right at, all of my craft. He always made me push myself. He always made me say, why not? From freshman year to when we went to Europe after senior year, every single time. And I can't thank him enough for the influence that he had on me, for he literally made me who I am today. He's a huge part of what I am today. I know Allison said, but I did want to tell the story of how he kind of became the photographer that he did. I think for a lot of us, he just became this amazing photographer overnight. We just saw his pictures are just everywhere. But Brown, like Allison said, Brown was the one that kind of propelled him. He got that award, and I remember talking with him about it. He's like, "What am I going to get?" And he had no idea. And then he decided to get the camera. And at first, he was just out here literally just all day, just taking pictures. And he would go back to his computer, start editing them. And I remember we were doing physics homework. And he would tell me, like, "Does this look right? Does that look right?" And he was so meticulous on every little thing had to be perfect from the day one that he got that camera. And he worked little by little. He started getting events to hire him, and then he started getting more and more people on board. He started buying better cameras, and just got so good. And it just shows the type of person that he was. Everything that he laid his hands on, he just pushed himself so hard to get better at it. From the second week of school, when me, him, and Michael and Mike went out to play racquetball, and we were all absolutely horrible. We couldn't even hit the ball. And then, a month later, he was killing all of us and making us better because he was so dedicated to it. Everything he laid his hands on, that was the perspective he had on it. And I can't thank him enough for everything that he did for me and the person he made me today. Thank you. Here, Gath.
Hello, my name is Alex, but most of y'all probably know me as Cooper. Soorya was my roommate senior year, and thinking about him, the one thing that really stuck out the most to me about him was he was never not himself. Like, people make fun of me for putting on a voice when I speak to people I don't know, but Soorya somebody for the first time and he instantly start telling them like about his family, about his photography, about himself. I remember when I brought my friend Walker from high school to Rice freshman year, and I introduced him to Soorya, and I feel like the next sentence out of Soorya's mouth was explaining to Walker how to make napalm out of homemade materials. And it's like, what is going on? But that was just who he was. And I was lucky enough to be a coworker of his for a short amount of time at Capital One. And I remember there was this one meeting that they were having us talk about the companies that we thought focused the most on customers. So people, of course, are Google, Amazon. And then I just hear Nikon. I didn't even have to look where it came from. I knew it was Soorya. And he would explain to people that Capital One was a side project to him. It was really about the weekends when he'd go take pictures, that was his real job. And his ability to always be himself and always be just true to who he was, it's something that I always tried to aspire to be like that, and he continues to be my role model, even now that he's not with us. And I think that he is truly amazing, and he still is amazing to this day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Janet, if you don't know me. I have a story about Soorya that stands out in my mind. Prior to May, my parents had never visited me at Rice. They've never come to Rice. And in May, my mom came to visit Rice for the first time before I studied abroad in the summer. And she was only here for 2 days, so it was mostly just me and her. But I wanted to take a picture with my mom to commemorate her visiting me for the first time. So I texted Soorya and just really fast, I was like, hey, this is really short notice, but is it okay if you take a picture of my mom and I? And he texted me back immediately. He was like, yeah, sure, meet you in the quad in 10 minutes. So he was always a super beloved friend, and just like that, came down. He was just as he always is, super friendly, asked all these questions to my mom, like, how do you like Rice? What have you done so far? Like, how long are you staying? Super friendly, and took a picture of me and my mom. And to this day, he's still the only person at Rice who's ever met my mom. And I just have never thanked him for being such a great representative of all the great things that Rice is. He encompassed and was amazing and a great person for my mom to meet to represent Rice.
While you're gathering your thoughts, I'll tell you a little story from Spencer Savino. Spencer couldn't be here today. He really wanted to be here, but couldn't. But he wanted me to share a story to tell his family. And it's a very simple story. It's already part of the larger framework and fabric of what you've already heard. So Spencer was a member of a committee, the staff committee, and he needed somebody to take pictures of the staff, or the staff that works in the kitchen. And of course, everybody seems to have just anything but one photographer here, so Soorya was brought to bear. And he wanted me to tell you all that for Soorya, taking pictures of people was a delight. It turned a light on him and in others. And what Spencer said that really impressed him about Soorya's humanity is that not only did he take a picture of each staff member, but he talked to each staff member, asked them who they were, asked how their day was going, and then he took the picture. And you can see that he brought out their personality. So all the staff pictures are still back there on the back wall. So a little later you can see them. But you can see that they really responded to him. And he had a gift. There's no doubt he had a gift in making people just be themselves.
Thank you all for all of those reflections. So we have a chance to absorb that and think about it during our second musical offering, Lucen by Emile Salz. The piece will be performed by Gabe Baker, a Brown student, class of 15, and Professor Stevenson, a longtime friend and associate of Paul. Okay, now this is a moment. Thank you so much. This is a moment where we make various announcements, dedications, and presentations. The first announcement is that I'm making publicly for the first time is the Soorya Avali Award for Contributions to Humanity. This award has been designed in conversation between the masters, the Avalis, and students who, and Soorya's parents who wish to make an annual, and I might add a generous monetary award in Soorya's name. The award will be given at our spring award ceremonies and will be given for the first time this spring. I'll read the award. The Soorya Avali Award was established in 2014 to honor the memory of a Brown student and Rice alumnus. Soorya himself was recognized in 2011 with Brown's Outstanding Freshman Award, and with its prize money, Soorya bought a camera. Soorya served both Brown College and Rice University generously, but it was through the worlds he brought to us in his photography that Soorya made his unique contributions to humanity. This award, in Soorya's name, encourages students to imagine their talents in the service of dreams much larger than themselves. So that's it. Some of you have asked about making one-time contributions to this award, and I wanted to tell you that you're welcome to give at any level of giving, and you'll see flyers on the back table. You could make a donation today, you could take the flyer with you and make it later. You can make it online, you can look on the back side of the program, and there's a website there, and you can also consult me or Nancy Henry on that. So now for the dedication of the Soorya Avali Art Wall. I'm handing this over to Riley Solis, the Brown president.
Many this afternoon have attested to Soorya's love for photography and his ability to represent subjects, document events in creative, artistic ways. I was always amazed at not only his talent, but also by the enthusiasm that he brought to his photography that I think was very representative of his enthusiasm for life. To commemorate this passion and all he has done for the community here at Brown, students here at the college wanted to create something lasting that would both honor his memory and keep that passion for creativity and contribution alive in our community. Close to the beginning of this semester, a group of us began to plan this commemorative project. We'd like to bring the result to everyone's attention. One of the walls in our private dining room here at Brown is now dedicated as the Soorya Avali Memorial Art Wall. Currently, a handful of Soorya's own photographs are mounted on the wall. There's also a border surrounding the wall comprised of many examples of Soorya's impressive portrait photography. Those depicted as portraits are only a few of the ones whose lives he's touched, whose days he's brightened here at Rice. Throughout the year, we'll be adding art submissions with varying mediums from other students to fill the rest of the wall, in the spirit of artistic creativity and contribution to the community. Every year, we plan to rotate out the pieces on the art wall for new submissions, while keeping Soorya's photographs that are currently there on permanent display. I'd like to extend gratitude to Nancy Henry, our office coordinator, for the original idea of the art wall, to all those along the way who made it possible. I encourage everyone to stop by the Brown private dining room sometime after we're done with this today, if you haven't done so already, to see his stunning photographs of the space that others' contributions will soon fill. It's my hope that the art wall will serve as a comfort for those who knew Soorya, and as a testament to how much one person's passion and love for others in his community can positively impact those around us.
We have two gifts for the Avali family. The first, many tributes for Soorya from around campus keep coming in, and actually I learned about some of them. There have been quite a number because somebody brings them to my attention. Recently, Dean Hutchinson alerted me to the beautiful Campanile spread dedicated to Soorya with quotes from friends, photographs of Soorya with all of the masters, and the Starry Night photo of Soorya that we all love so much. I would like to present you first of all with the 2014 Campanile.
If you haven't seen it already, it's towards the back, and it's a 2-page spread.
Alums and current students, I can just stay there, have also been in the process of a scrapbook project, and Mike and they wanted to present this.
We wanted to find a way to kind of immortalize all the ways that Soorya has touched people's lives. I know we all knew about his photos, but as we've seen up here, he touched our lives with his words, his photos, and his presence. So we created this scrapbook to give everybody a chance to write down or in any which way show what the effect that Soorya has had on their lives. And we'd like to present this to his family to show how much it really meant to us. And the Avalis will be letting us stay at Rice for a couple more weeks. And we have notes in the back if anybody would like to still contribute to the scrapbook or talk to Nancy Henry as well. If you have anything to say, anything, a picture, any words at all, we'd be happy to put in the scrapbook and it'll still be here. So please do.
So as I mentioned before, this memorial will be followed by a reception, and I invite you to stay for it after we finish for fellowship, for food, and just to continue. Before we finish, we have a final musical celebration. All of us are invited to sing along to this medley song that many of us know very well, Over the Rainbow and What a Wonderful Life by IZ, popularly known as, or Israel Kamakabe Bolay. Gay Baker is going to sing it, class of 2015, and Ngoma and Mika, class of 2015, is going to accompany Gabe on the ukulele.
High above above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh, why, it's I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. And I see skies of blue, and I see clouds of white, and the brightness of day. I like the dark, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of a rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops, that's where you'll find me, or somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, oh, why can't I,
Oh, thank you so much. That was really great. So I invite us all now to pass through these doors and gather around the fairy fountain, and some of the students will give us balloons, and then on the cue of you all, we will release.